Welcome! This is the fourth in my series of climate mythbusters, and the myth I'm going to bust today is that there's no scientific consensus that global warming is happening and being largely caused by human activities. We've all heard that 97% of climate scientists agree that that is in fact the case, although I'd like to point out that the other 3% is by no means unanimous. 2% of those are not sure one way or the other, and the other 1% I have my ideas of what's causing their opposition. Frankly, so what, and who cares about a scientific consensus? A consensus is not important in establishing a scientific theory. Scientists accept the theory because of a scientific evidence. When that evidence becomes overwhelming, a consensus forms. So why bother about it? Well, this is nothing to do with the science community accepting the theory, because they already have. The issue is whether the public accepts the theory, and when the public accepts the theory, then the politicians are forced to do something about it. And at the moment, the public seems to think there's a 50-50 split in the scientific community. That's generally because you see on television one proponent and one opponent of the anthropogenic global warming theory being interviewed at any given time. And that gives an impression that there's equal numbers on both sides, when in fact there isn't. Well, is there a consensus or isn't there? We've all seen the figures. Many studies over the years have shown between 90 and 100% of climatologists agree that global warming is happening and is being largely caused by humans. We also know that the more informed you are about global warming, the more you agree with the anthropogenic global warming theory. If you read the peer-reviewed papers, nearly 14,000 of them commented on one way or the other about global warming, but only 24 of those rejected it. We also know that there's a very high level of endorsement of global warming, not only from people reading those papers, but actually from the authors themselves. So it's not a matter of interpretation, it's actually the authors themselves agree at these sorts of levels. And you can see from the other side there's a strong cultural bias against the anthropogenic global warming theory amongst free marketeers, because it means that the free market, which has generally caused this problem, is going to have to be regulated in some way to help solve the problem. Well, how overwhelming is the evidence? Well, here are 10 indicators that humans are causing global warming. I don't have time to go into all of them here, but let's just look at some of them. We know that less heat is escaping into space because the stratosphere is cooling. More fossil fuel carbon in the air, which means that this extra carbon dioxide is coming from the burning of fossil fuels. The nights are warming faster than the days, and the only signature that can explain that is more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. If it was anything else, the days would be warming faster than the nights. And we see less oxygen in the air, which goes along with the idea that we're burning fossil fuels. As we burn every carbon atom, we lose a molecule of oxygen from the atmosphere, and the rate of drop of oxygen in the atmosphere is mirroring the rate of increase of carbon dioxide. The anthropogenic global warming crowds often try to have it two ways. I particularly like this cartoon. There's no scientific consensus that we're causing global warming, but 97% of climate scientists agree on human-caused global warming. Why bring up consensus? Science is decided by consensus. It seems that foolish inconsistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. There seems to be a lot of hobgoblins in the anti-anthropogenic global warming camp. Until next time, goodbye.